Tuesday. I've just been resting since egg retrieval as much as I can. Yesterday I was up and about more than I have been. My husband took off, so I'm trying to take advantage of it and let him take care of Brayden and just, hang out and recover fully. I've been having some cramping and some pressure, but other than that, I feel normal. I didn't have any bleeding or anything like that, so that's good. So, today is waiting for a call from the embryologist with my day 3 update on our embryos. I'm super nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't sleep at all last night, hence my lovely bags under my eyes. So yeah, I've just been thinking a lot and just scared. I don't know what today is going to bring. I did a little research and I know that the embryo should be between 6 to 8 cells or more. And like of even size, like a perfect embryo would have even size cells. So I don't know what they're gonna tell me today, but I do know that I think I'm not going to answer the phone and I'm gonna let them leave a message. They asked me at egg retrieval if they can leave a detailed message, and I said yes. So I think that might be better for my soul, instead of answering the phone and waiting on every last word that they say. Just letting them leave a message and listening to it, and at least if I don't understand something or whatever, then I can like re-listen to it again and I have it like to listen to. Or I can always call my doctor and ask them what, to explain it more to me. But anyway, so that's my plan. On Sunday they called at 11:30, so I don't know if they're gonna call the same time today or it's gonna be later in the day or whatever. I spoke to a woman last night that's in my fertility group. She goes to she went to the same fertility center as I did, and she's been through so much. Like I can't even get touch on what she's been through. She's done, IVF. She's had like 9 miscarriages. The poor woman has been through hell. And she has 2 kids, thankfully, and she's so grateful for them. But of course, you always long for the family that you long for, and I don't think that ever goes away. And so I was just talking to her because she is a lot of knowledge. She knows everything. She's been through a lot, through hell and back, and she's still standing and still functioning and still living life every single day. And she gave me some awesome words, and like seriously, when she told me this, like it hit me, and I really it just hit me, and I am accepting it more. Well, for right now. I'm sure that if I got bad news, I'm gonna be sad and upset and feel sorry for myself because that is normal. But she basically said that the embryos, your eggs are basically what they are. It's whatever they are they have a destiny already. They are sitting in a lab and they're either going to become an embryo and become a baby or they're not. And there's nothing you can do to stop that or to change it. And worrying and crying and being mad and being sad isn't going to change it. It's not going to make your embryo a baby. It's not going to make them grow more. They already are either going to become a baby or not. The sperm and the egg either meet and it becomes what it's supposed to become, or it just doesn't work out. And her words really hit me because it's true. I mean, I hate the saying like, what's meant to be will be, or, it's in God's hands. Like, yeah, great, like that's nice and everything. And of course, people want to people go to those words when they don't know what to say, but when you're actually going through it, those words mean nothing. Just being honest. They mean nothing. Like, I don't want to believe that this is God's plan, because let's face it, why would he plan this for me? Like, this is miserable. So it's hard to believe those words when you're actually going through something like this. So when she said that, it just hit me, and she's right. You know, she's like, listen, it's the same thing as if you were to naturally try to have a baby, except you're pulling out more than one egg and you're fertilizing them. But it doesn't mean that they're all going to become a baby. I mean, let's face it, we've been trying to have a baby for almost 2 years, and we've been having sex at the right time, and I've been ovulating, and we have an egg and a sperm, and they're not meeting. So something is not happening, you know? So her saying that to me really helped me to maybe be sad about this if I do get bad news, and move on and keep trying until we get what we want, because we want to have another baby, and I don't think that I'm dried up and can't. I just think that maybe it's going to take more tries than we want, and it's going to cost more money than we have, and it's going to be heartbreak, but hopefully in the end it's going to be worth it, and we're going to get the family that we've always wanted. So I just wanted to come on here before I get the call and just say that. And like I said, the next video could be a crying video of me sad, but I'm going to try really hard not to be. And I'm going to try really hard to just, you know, think of them as, like, let's face it, if these embryos aren't meant to be, and they're bad embryos, and they're not meeting the correct way, and they're not going to be a baby, I don't want them to be put back in me and end up in a miscarriage or something wrong with the baby. So I'm trying to think of it that way and say, like, listen, if this batch didn't work out, then maybe the next one will. And it's gonna suck that I may have to go through this 1, 2, 3, who knows, more times to get the baby that we want. But I know that I'm not ready to give up. And so this is what we might have to do to get what we want. And yeah, so fingers crossed for good news. I'm still hopeful that maybe the 2 embryos that fertilized can be normal and become a baby. You never know. Like everybody says, it only takes 1, but we'll see. So yeah, more updates coming later. Bye. Hello. So it's, I don't know what time it is, almost 7 o'clock here. It was a good day today. So I didn't sleep very well last night. I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning. Woke up in like a panic, like nauseous, and just overall anxiety for my 3-day call today. I've been so nervous since Sunday, as you know, and as you, obviously, well, if you watched my last video on Sunday, it was really emotional. And we were told that, you know, we got 6 mature eggs, but only 2 of them fertilized on that day, and that they were still possibly watching 2 of them. So I kind of in my mind said that probably those 2 are out, because what are the odds that they're actually going to fertilize and become normal and all that stuff. So I was just banking on those other 2 that did fertilize to grow and be really good for today. So, you know, I've been hoping and going crazy over this, obviously. And so today, you know, I thought they would call like 11:30, because that's when they called on Sunday. and they, 11:30 came and gone and no calls. So I was going crazy. But finally at, what time was it? It was like almost 1 o'clock, like 12:45, 12:50. They called, and I told myself that I was gonna let it go to voicemail because I didn't want to be in the moment and get upset or, not grasp what they were saying. And I thought it would be good if Josh and I could listen to the voicemail together and, take it all in, take in the information and go from there. And so I let it go to voicemail. I saw them calling. My heart was racing faster than I think it's ever raced in my whole life. And then I got the voicemail, and it was 50 seconds long. And it's scary because it's a lot of information on a voice message. But so they told us that all 4 fertilized and are growing normally. They are normal 3-day embryos. And the embryologist said that they all are looking really good. So all 4 of our potential eggs are doing good. And I just literally cannot believe it. I broke down and was crying because I just was in shock. I was not expecting that at all. I was actually expecting bad news, obviously. I was preparing myself for them to say, sorry, none of them are growing, or one of them is growing normally, but I was not prepared for them to tell me that all 4 were doing really well. And I know that okay, so I'm not a religious person, and I think everybody who knows me knows that about me. And I know that a lot of our friends and family have been messaging me and saying that they're praying for us and whatnot. And I swear, guys, thank you so much, because I really, really think that helped. And that it was answered, because I don't pray very often, but when I do, it's meaningful, and it's something that is close to my heart, and it's never asking of something stupid or whatnot. It's real life stuff. And I was praying so hard too, and I was hoping that we would get good news today. And the news that we got was just amazing. I couldn't have asked for anything better. So the next update will be on Thursday, and that will be day 5. And so day 5 is the first freeze. So if any of our embryos are ready for freeze, they will go into freeze on that day. On my report, it said that they'll call us on day 5, day 6, and day 7, because they could, if they're not ready for freeze, they'll continue to grow, and then when they're ready, they'll freeze them. So we'll get an update on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday if they're all not in freeze before then. So yeah, sorry, I just am in shock. I think I can't even, I'm speechless, okay? It's crazy that happened. And don't get me wrong, I'm super happy and I'm super excited and I'm so hopeful, and I'm also scared because I do know that we could still end up with nothing, and we could end up with less than 4. So I have to try to bring myself down. And I know this is stupid, because it's why are you going to bring yourself down from happiness? But you kind of have to. You have to bring yourself to reality, because they're not in freeze yet. They're not, ready to go and ready to be implanted back into me. So yeah, so we'll see what happens on Thursday. I am gonna try, I think that news made today and tomorrow a little bit easier. maybe a little bit less anxiety. Maybe I can sleep a little bit more tonight. And we'll wait to see what happens on Thursday and pray again for amazing news. Like, guys, like, if we get 4 embryos, like, that is, it's an amazing scenario. I mean, don't get me wrong with IVF. Like, people think that, a lot of people that aren't going through it or don't know somebody going through it, haven't researched it, don't understand. IVF is not a sure thing. Like, it is, people think like, oh, you're going through IVF, like, you're gonna be pregnant, you're gonna get pregnant, no problem, it's gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. But that's not true. It's still the same process of natural selection, you know, like, we're just pulling more out, that's all. And it's, you know, all at once, instead of just doing one at a time, where, you know, a natural cycle where you're ovulating and you don't really actually even know what's going on. But yeah, like, it's not a sure thing. So we could get 4 embryos and they can say they look really good, you know, whatever, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna get pregnant from them. So that's the next step of this, is once we get those embryos into freeze, if they get that far, then we have to go through the transfer process, which is a whole nother ball game. I was just talking to my friend, and we were talking, she went through IVF too. And so we were talking about, there's this new test called an ERA. And I forget what it stands for, endometrial something, I don't know. Basically, what they do is they take a piece of your endometrium out, which is a piece of like your uterus, and they test your most receptive day. Like, what day is the best day to implant an embryo? And sometimes it takes one test, sometimes it takes multiple to figure out which day is the best. Like, how many days of progesterone do you need? How many, what's the best day to implant this embryo? So I think that our plan for this is that if we do get 3 to 4 embryos to freeze, which we are going to be doing a frozen cycle. I asked my doctor about doing a fresh cycle, and he said that the statistics of frozen are better. And so I'm going to go with him. And he's been doing this for a really long time. He knows the statistics. He's done this. And so I'm going to be patient and do a frozen transfer. And I think we're gonna do one transfer, and if it doesn't take, we're gonna do this ERA test, and then we'll talk about other transfers after that. So that's our plan right now. Obviously that can change. Anything can change with this process. It's grueling, it's long, it's emotional. It's like, I was just telling actually another one of my friends, my best friend, that this process is emotional. It's emotionally hurting, physically hurting, and financially hurting. It's all 3. And to have to deal with all 3 of those at the same time is really, really hard. And to be honest with you, this cycle has been hard, like, it's the physical part of it. Yeah, I did injections and that was hard, but this has been hard, waiting for the results. This has been harder than the injections altogether. So anyway, my husband and child are calling for me, and so I will update on Thursday with the next results. And I'm also going to add on the end of this video, the message that the embryologist left for me, because I don't think I'm ever deleting that in my whole life, even if we end up with nothing. because that was a day of pure bliss. So have an awesome night, and talk soon.
Hi, Jenna. This is Alicia. I'm one of the embryologists calling from Ovation Fertility. I was just calling to let you know how your embryos are doing since today is day 3. So we did take a look at your embryos today, and the embryos are looking really good. So we had 2 that fertilized normally and 2 that we were watching. And so we have division in all 4 embryos, which is great, and all of them look appropriate that they should look on day 3. So it's good news. So the next step will be that we will leave them in culture, and then the earliest that we will start freezing will be on day 5, and that will also be whenever you receive your next update. So should you have any questions, give us a call back, 610-7474. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.